Class for Everybody. I'm your co-host, Josue, here with my co-host,
Austin.
And we're doing horror film extravaganza, the last week of
week
horror
4.
Film. Dude, I'm honestly kind of sad that it's over. It was a lot of work. We put in a lot of work in watching, writing, preparing, promotions. So
getting this all together has been a nightmare and a pleasure all at once.
It's been a lot. It's been a lot. But you know what? It's been so much fun watching these movies. So much fun talking about them.
Dude, it's been wonderful sharing these with you. I just wanted to say real quick, I've had a blast getting your reactions from these.
I can't even lie. It's fun to visit these movies that you have talked about for so long. And a lot of these movies, listen, Austin has been spanking me for the past couple of months, being like, you haven't watched Itchy the Killer. You haven't watched Altered States.
Yeah.
You haven't watched
Tenebrae.
And you know what? To be fair, I should have watched a lot of these movies.
Yeah.
And I'm so glad that I've made my way around to these movies. One that's not on this list, and this is just... We're celebrating here. This is the hoorah.
Yeah, exactly. This is the hurrah. Yeah, I was going to say, I knew you would come out a tougher soldier after this. I was excited.
This makes me excited to revisit or visit Argento, visit Mario Bava. Go through the Strange Circus director.
Sion Sono.
Sono.
I was gonna say,
I'm excited, dude.
This has made me want to check out whole swaths of countries and cultures. You know what I mean? Because angst and all these, we were talking about European cinema recently. Inspired us to start talking about Iranian cinema. We've been just going off on a film tangent lately because of this, and I love how this has inspired us to really reconnect with art.
100%. And it's just been a pleasure to share these movies with everybody that's tapping into
Thank you guys for listening.
Yeah. If you're listening to
for even caring what we have to say.
If you're listening to our rants and oftentimes just our silly ass conversations, frankly kind of stupid sometimes.
Absolutely.
We're sometimes just bubbling on here, but
we have too much fun.
It's fun. And I honestly want it to be even more fun. And
it's going to be even more degenerate as it goes. So
absolutely. And look, this is the horror comedy week. And I'll be honest with you, all of these are bangers.
Except for one.
Yeah. And that is going to lead us with our first choice of the week, which is...
Slither by James Gunn. Which I have to apologize, James Gunn. I put you up against some pretty good movies, and now I feel like I unintentionally got your film punched down on.
It's actually crazy how bad this has aged in my brain. Because even as we were watching it, I was having, even when we were watching it, I was having somewhat fun with it. There was some jokes there, some crazy imagery, especially with the inflated woman in the barn. That was
some really gross visuals.
And look, I hate crawly, creepy, slimy creatures. So this should have been a slam dunk.
Yes.
And also the run that James Gunn has been on in the last couple of 5 to 10 years has been incredible.
Superman.
I love Superman. I love Superman. I love his Guardians of the Galaxy.
Mm-hmm.
So to hear, listen, you put on a horror comedy movie by James Gunn with what are these
dude, it has GOAT.
What are these
Nathan
called?
Fillion, Michael Rooker, Elizabeth Banks, and then there's So this is a movie basically where everything is overtaken by fleshy tadpole-looking creatures.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and
emphasis on fleshy and slimy.
Yeah, so like I was saying, this should have been a home run for me, and unfortunately, it wasn't. But look, let me as all the episodes that we've been doing, I do want to get the pros out the way.
Let's actually run it down because I have a couple.
I'd say some of the effects on here have aged really well, even for the time in 2006. I think this looks some of the effects look pretty good. Nathan Fillion is incredible.
I think he's phenomenal.
He's amazing. There's just so much fun to watch him on screen. The ending scene with the house and all the deformation and everybody attached to this giant ass creature was something that also really stuck with me.
Shout out Michael Rooker.
Honestly, that might be it for my pros in terms of at least from what I'm recalling and what I remember. There's not a lot left that I enjoyed a lot from this movie.
Okay. A couple of my pros, sort of revolve around what you were talking about. I love, for example, that the fleshy mutations in this film. Specifically on Michael Rooker's body, I like that instead of choosing to be like alien, he just kind of made him look like a herp. Like, I don't know, the skin texture, it's really detailed in a way that was discomforting. I liked that nastiness. That reminded me of like his trauma days with like Tromeo and Juliet. I was like, okay, he's still got that disease-ridden evil in him. Yeah. And I love Nathan Fillion. I like Michael Rooker. I actually think he's really funny. I mean, I will say, even, you know, one-dimensional sort of goals aside of the villain, I think his performance is sort of just like this weirdo who's like turning into a flesh-eating monster, and also just like loves his wife, but also has some marriage issues. Yeah, it's really fun. I kind of like that story. I like his performance.
It's also very rare because obviously all I know from Michael Rooker is the Guardians of the Galaxy series. That's all I know him as in my brain.
He has not seen Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer.
No, I have not seen. I haven't seen a lot of his
that's
filmography. He's in Jumper from what I can tell, which I know.
He's kind of one of those actors that's been around since time immemorial.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, he's in Days of Thunder with Tom Cruise, actually.
Oh, he is?
Yeah, that's what I'm seeing right now.
Well, he's Walking Dead. He's Merle. He's Daryl's brother.
Shit.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I forgot that. Oh, yeah. He's that.
That's crazy, yeah.
Well, I always remember him from Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer because it's one of the most fucked up movies I've ever seen.
Really?
And he's doing some, like, you know, it's funny watching this. Surprisingly, I'm sorry to say this, James, about your movie. Watching Slither actually made me just wish I put Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer on. Yeah, halfway through.
Is Henry?
Henry? No, it's not a comedy.
Okay.
But still, like,
chaos.
it just made me want to watch that instead. I'm not gonna lie.
Damn. Yeah. I another vivid memory that I have that I think was executed really well was when one of the slimy creatures crawls into the bathroom and then gets into the tub. I think that whole the execution of that whole scene was flawless, and it definitely made me squirm and cringe in my own seat. It was just a lot. It was just too much to handle in that scene particularly. Yeah. You know, and then of course another scene that was major that we kind of touched upon earlier was the inflated woman in the barn, and just
it's pretty
oozing from the sides.
I thought the way her skin was moving, like you could see like the sort of tadpoles crawling under her, and the way it actually looked like there was a million of them under her. It actually, especially if you have troubles with trypophobia or anything involving patterns.
If you have problems with trypophobia,
this movie is designed to torture you.
Altogether. Like,
this movie is designed to put you in the fetal position crying. Like, exactly. Yeah. Well, I was going to say just like, and to wrap it up for my pros, I sort of see it as like, I like that it's sort of a B-movie story. Like, the alien, like it literally lands like the Blob. And it takes over this town. And I love the plotting, and I kind of like how it's sort of a modern B-movie with, like, the gore. It's really nihilistic. And I do think there is a lot of the dry humor that works. Yeah. Now, this transitions into our cons, though, and I think you and me actually feel kind of similarly about this. I think I was just kind of in denial after we watched this. I think the problem with a lot of the humor is it's trying too hard. And I think, but not just trying too hard, it's that 2006 humor, which is when it was released, where it gets really graphic sometimes. And not in a way that's funny. It's just kind of like, all right, that might have been funny when I was like 13. Right. It's just kind of gross. And especially considering the tone of the movie and his humor. And there's a lot of stuff involving, like, there's a lot of jokes, low-key, of like penetration in this. And like, I was just kind of like,
James Gunn.
Yeah, I was just kind of like, this is kind of, it's giving Encore. Like, it's kind of felt like when you love that.
It's
really
so weird
cool
because his comedy has gotten better. Like, his writing has gotten better.
Well, I think he's just gotten better at expressing it. Because I just think this is very much like, it's kind of like that cool uncle when you're young. You're like, oh, they're really cool. When you get older, you're like, ugh.
Yeah, why did he say that?
They're kind of just trashy. Like,
exactly.
This isn't beating the trashy allegations.
Yeah.
But not in a good way. You know what I mean?
And I think that it hasn't aged well. I mean, I didn't see it when it came out, so I have no recollection of it.
Yeah, but that was another thing for me, too. It was a nostalgic one.
Yeah. And again, I had really high expectations, especially coming from James Gunn and knowing what he's done. And I'll be honest with you, this is such a forgettable body horror movie for me.
Okay, there is actually one thing from my note to say this. The dog death basement is heinous. The basement with all the animals in it.
Oh my god.
Dude, there's a shot in this film of like a basement full of dead animals that actually made me like have a physical reaction. I was like, that's repulsive. I don't ever want to see that again.
Absolutely horrible.
Dude, and I kept juxtaposing it just because of recency bias with Superman. I just kept thinking of Superman watching this.
Dude, Disney saw this. Oh Disney saw this and we're like, yup, we need to give him Guardians of the Galaxy.
Dude, like the fact this man has made a Disney movie now is insane to me.
Multiple Disney movies.
Multiple Disney movies.
That's crazy. But it's It's cool to see this movie and just reflect on James Gunn's trajectory, especially as a filmmaker, and to know that he made this and he's able to learn from his mistakes, and not only that, but grow and become a better filmmaker.
I would say specifically grow. Yeah.
Right. I mean, you see it immediately in Guardians of the Galaxy, the first one, just a huge step up.
I mean, even in this film, you see it because it's like. I felt like Slither. One thing about rewatching it that kind of caught me off guard was like, this is taking a while to get started. Like, where's the propulsion? Superman was like the inverse of this. It's like that first frame, Superman's falling out of the sky.
Yeah.
And I was thinking about as a filmmaker, I was like, wow, like even just watching this, I'm seeing the differences.
Right.
Like, how he tells the story.
No, it's
interesting.
It's really cool to see a filmmaker, or really any artist.
James Gunn blowed up.
It's really cool to see any artist kind of. Excel at their form, whatever. Yeah. Even like listening to artists' older stuff. I'm thinking of earlier artists' work. I'm trying to think of an artist who I wasn't a huge fan of that ended up growing on me.
I have a couple. I mean, one you showed me, Yeet.
Oh, Yeet. Yeah.
I actually used to be kind of a Yeet hater, and then like he kind of showed it to me in a way and made me reevaluate how to listen to his music and what kind of music or vibe it's going for. And I was like, this is actually really good. And like, I kind of similarly, I feel in that way. You know?
I mean, look, James Gunn has shown, I mean, since Guardians of the Galaxy and then Suicide Squad, that he's a very capable filmmaker.
Very capable.
I see people enjoying the hell out of this.
Yeah.
This is like, by definition, an FX movie.
Like,
you turn it on, you're like, what the hell is...
I can see exactly what the edits would be, too. That's so funny you say that. Yeah. Well, you know what's funny is, like...
It's a daytime TV movie.
I would watch this again. It's one of those movies, like, it's very encore, where I feel like it's, like... If someone was having a beer, like the homies, and we were watching this, like I'd watch it,
The thing is, if you hadn't put the other movies that are on this list, I would agree with you.
See, that's where I fucked up.
But because you did put the other movies on this list, I don't even I would be like, no, when we could just watch Brain Damage.
Yeah, no, because
when we could just watch
Get Alive,
Tales from the Hood. I'm sorry,
Tales from the Hood.
There's better options on this list. But look, if you haven't seen Slither and you are a fan of James Gunn, I would actually encourage you to watch it. I think it's a very interesting movie to see where James Gunn has come from, see how he has excelled as a filmmaker, and how maybe you might watch it and end up loving it, because I do think that a lot of what James Gunn's core is, his beliefs
in there.
And his freakish nature, it's in Slither.
It's stripped down. I actually think it's his most authentic to him, like his style and taste.
Yeah.
And his humor. And I think, I'm gonna be real, I think it's fun still. Like, it's not as perfect as I remember, but if you want like a good Saturday afternoon schlock movie to throw on, it's fun.
Yeah, I wouldn't even...
It's Tubi core before Tubi.
I'm not even too sure if I would watch this again. And in that same breath, I still would recommend this to who want to check it out. I'll be like, give it a shot. Because I don't think it's terrible.
No.
I just don't think that it met my expectations.
No. And I will admit, I think the glasses of I love James Gunn came off a little bit. I forgot bro wasn't a perfect
The gun
person.
was jammed. It did jam then, bro.
2006 it jammed, bro. No, that clip was stuck, bro. Yeah, bro was in the mud just... He's like, bro, come on.
So the 2006, I don't even know what I'm going to rate this. I think I'm going to give it a solid 3 for the practical effects.
Yeah, because I would say 3 too, because I think that as well. I think there is enough craft in it to warrant.
Wait, sorry, I want to stop real quick. Was there practical effects? I don't know if I'm blanking.
Well, not completely, but there's a lot of practical effects.
Sure.
Well, you can tell when it's not practical effects because the CG sticks out like a sore thumb. It's very 2006 CGI.
I'm gonna have to say 3 because I did have fun, but it was kind of
a good 50%.
Kind of a miss, yeah.
To the normies, it's a 50% on Rotten
Slither 2006 by
James Gunn.
All right, our second choice is
Brain Damage by Frank Henenlotter.
1988, and we got the privilege of watching this one together.
We did.
We held hands and
and
we took acid and just
Josue accepted me, and I gave him my juice.
Dude, God, this movie is amazing.
Yeah,
man.
this is a
amazing
meme movie in the best way.
It's honestly devastating. It's it's a really sad movie.
It's fucked up.
It's a fucked up movie. It's a real movie. It's a silly movie. I don't know.
Surreal.
There's so much to love about this movie that I mean, fuck. Where do I even begin?
The creativity. Let's start with our star of the film, Aylmer, the stop motion puppet that injects hallucinogenic fluid into our character's brain, Brian.
I'm trying to figure out. Okay, so this old man by the name of John Zachary.
Oh yes.
who he's actually starred in Frankenhooker.
Uh-huh.
He has starred in Vampira. He's starred in a couple of random ass movies, but his voice acting in this is his voice work is incredible in Brain Damage.
Well, the puppetry, the stop motion,
the stop motion animation of the of the actual puppet of Elmer is so really fucking cool.
It's awesome.
It's
so much
awesome.
Personality too. I like how even in the face with the limitations of the time, he expresses so much emotion.
Yeah, they did some crazy work for him for this movie.
Crazy gore.
Yeah, and I mean, just even from the beginning sequences of the blue water that washes up.
All the parables to addiction in this are like striking. I don't think, and I would even say like I would even go as far as to say is like this is one of those films where I'm like I don't think I've seen it replicated. It's kind of unique.
Yeah, and I'm glad because you can't really replicate the wonder of Brain Damage.
No,
I mean, you know what's so crazy that we're talking about this and we're reflecting. Some my pros right here, off rip, right? The acting is incredible from pretty much the whole cast right here. Right, Rick Hirsch is incredible. He gives one of the best like addiction performances that I've seen.
Dude, he's like a goblin at points.
Yeah, he masters it, and of course that comes under the direction of Frank.
Yes.
Jennifer Laurie. I guess Jennifer Laurie only has in her her credits is only Brain Damage. She only acted
I wouldn't
in
be
this
surprised
movie.
if most of these people had very little credits.
Oh, look at this! So Gordon McDonald, his roommate, who ends up hooking up with his girlfriend, is in Drive Away Dolls.
Really?
Yeah, that is crazy. The gap right there. So he did Brain Damage in 1988. Then he did Perfect Stranger in 2007. Looks like he did another one in 2007, and then from 2007 all the way to 2024, that's when he did Drive Away Dolls. So
so he like
what a crazy gap.
Yeah. Well, I'm looking at Rick Hurst even like Brain Damage. Then it goes to Warlock 3, The End of Innocence,
dude.
Then to Dead Sexy, and then to Full Count.
Yeah.
And like and the gap is 1988 to 99 to 01, then to 2019.
So there's this movie that's named Allure the Dreamer by Quincy Ledbetter. I have never seen this movie, but apparently he was in that, and that was in 2020.
I thought you were making that name up. That is a real name. Oh, okay.
It's a little bit more recent, but look, there's some sequences in this movie that I can't stress to you are so unbelievable to witness on the screen. And I'm thinking about the junkyard scene, right? When he is like tripping balls for the first time.
The first hallucinogenic sequence.
And you know, I think that coincides to a lot of people's like first time experiencing drugs, right?
Oh,
or like where
Very
it's such a beautiful experience that you're unaware of the damage that you could be even causing, even on the first one, which is why like he kills that man.
Well, it's even more sinister than that. He doesn't even realize at first he's killing people.
Not. Yeah,
because Aylmer is a little abuser.
Yeah.
And I think actually Aylmer's performance as the villain is actually sinister.
Yeah.
And the scene I want to reference actually is the one in the hotel room where, you know, Brian sort of finally, he's like, I've had enough. I'm going to detox.
Yeah.
And which is funny because this is very similar to heroin addiction. And, you know, not to get convoluted with details, as someone who's been institutionalized in rehabs, I've seen people actually detox like this. So it was evoking a lot of memories of this one guy. I specifically remember when I was in my last stint, and I just, the realism to the sweat and the details and the hotel room, which is, and also like Maniac, another time capsule of 80s New York that is brilliant.
Yeah.
And Aylmer's just goading him and just teasing him and picking at him, going, "Hey, I'm right here," with that little sinister Elmo voice or that Barney voice, whatever. And it really surprised me how, you know, to the movie's credit, I spit food in that. I was actually really surprised by Frank Henenlotter's direction in those sequences, and you know the fact that he made a puppet seem so evil and actually menacing.
I mean,
he
is evil.
Tangible was impressive. I have to admit that was impressive.
Yeah. Also, I love whenever he would squirt his juice in his brain. The
Yes,
mouth
the
open and then
visual.
the jaw dropping down slowly like a lever.
and then his little stick coming out. I'm like, this is kind of gay.
Then just shoot. It's a little gay, but also like
I think there's references to
there's some homosexuality in there.
Yeah, 100%.
Well, I mean, he goes to a gay club at one point. I mean, there's definitely the iconography is there. Yeah. Well, and it's funny that you were saying about that because it's like I always think of the shot of the brain where you see it enter his skull, and it spits this like the only way I can describe it is like the porta potty blue fluid. It's like that same blue into his brain, and I love it. And you watch him just go I love all the Rick Hurst shots where he's like like,
dude,
it's just like
both of them like so. Elmer is such a funny character and like he's just mean. Evil. He's an evil, funny, but like even when he's bullying, he was kind of funny.
Brian.
He's such a silly goober, bro.
Yeah.
Followed by these like really well acted dramatized scenes from Rick Hurst as what's his name? As Brian. Yeah.
Tweaker.
Yeah.
Oh, like the one where he's at the dinner table and like he's seeing the meatballs turn into brains and they're just breathing, and the way he's talking to her is so like incoherent.
What are your pros for this movie? What do you got as?
I'm gonna be real. I don't even think I have cons for this one. I think. Oh, here I'll switch it up a little bit. The score. There's a hypnotic rhythm to the score. You know what I'm talking about? The do 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 do. Oh, specifically for that score. But it was just one of those things where it really caught me off guard, and I would feel like I was being hypnotized, and surprised me. I really loved it. It's really simple. It's kind of similar to the Tetsuo score. Very simple. Yes, but I feel like the notes it hits, it's very pronounced, very memorable.
No, I agree. And look, there is. Oh God,
it's really just amazing.
The club sequence is also such a good fun time.
Yeah, the blowjob death where we see Elmer come out of his pants as proxy for his penis.
Right.
Okay, I guess, you know.
Yeah.
Sure. I don't know. There's a very symbiotic relationship between them two.
Yeah.
And I love that it holds on this for a while, and you actually hear the inside of her mouth getting chewed up by Elmer, like the sound design.
Yeah,
it was vile, and I loved.
And he's
how
so,
memorable
but
it
he's
was.
so tweaked out he doesn't even realize.
No,
what's going on. I mean, like to be fair, at that point, like he was literally stumbling, like out.
He's not even conscious at that point. Really.
He's so fucking faded.
Yeah,
that he's just like.
Well, I mean, the combo at the dinner table, like you can just tell when he's talking to her. He's like, you don't get it. Like he does this motion with his head. He's like, you don't get it. He's like, he's in me.
yeah. All right, what did you think about the elder people?
I had a note for this actually. I love the unnecessarily convoluted lore behind Elmer, because there's a scene where the elder, so the previous owners, basically explained to him the exact lineage of how, like, where Aylmer started in like BC, like Jerusalem, all the way to modern day. And this is like an actual 5 minute. This is a lore dump. He just dumps this.
Yeah.
And I just started chuckling. I'm like, why is this lore so detailed?
It feels so unnecessary, but it was like kind of just adding on to the humor.
Yeah, that's what I felt. It just added, because it just added to the absurdity of it. Like, and you know, I was already so committed at that point to the movie, and the movie that's one thing I loved about this too. It fucking commits.
Yeah.
It commits to the bit. And I love that, and I cherish this movie because of that.
God, I mean, if you're hearing this, you're probably in agreement. I would hope you're in agreement with this.
I would hope.
If you have not seen this movie, you're doing yourself a disservice. Bro. Like, you just ain't funny, bro. This got to be one of the greatest horror movies I've ever seen.
Actually.
Genuinely tackling the themes of addiction.
Really great cinematography. Yeah, sound design.
It's a visionary scenes and sequences shot with like the way that the colors look in the sky in that junkyard.
Absolutely.
I've never seen that being done before in a movie, and it still feels fresh for a movie that's from the 1980s. Like it still feels fresh in 2025.
Yeah, because he did Basket Case, Brain Damage, Frankenhooker, and I'm not gonna lie, I think out of those three, because those are kind of like his three like masterpieces that everyone talks about, I think Brain Damage has to be my favorite out of those three.
Yeah,
it goes Brain Damage, Frankenhooker, Basket Case. Yeah,
I've got to see Basket Case, which I
have that one. Oh, there's also a cameo from Basket Case in this movie.
I've heard. Oh yeah, that's right. Basket Case literally makes an appearance in Brain Damage. That's right.
It's really funny.
That's crazy. The crossover episode. Look, Brain Damage, 1988 by
Frank Henenlotter.
I would highly recommend this movie if you have not checked it out. Austin, what would you rate it?
Honestly, for me, 5 out of 5. Just a great exercise in gallows humor and absurd visuals.
Yeah, I would give it like about a 4.5. It's almost a 5 for me. I feel like you were saying about the lore exposition. I feel like we would benefit so much from just not knowing anything about him. And I do feel like the pacing kind of falls off a little bit towards the second act, entering into the third act. But I think it's just necessary for the descent of him and into his addiction. It just didn't work that well for me. It felt kind of jarring considering how intense everything had got.
Yeah, I get that. And I will admit, I think what gets me through the sluggishness of that pacing issue is Aylmer and Brian.
Hey, there's so much to love.
It's just them.
I fully understand this being a like masterpiece to people, and in many respects it is. In many respects it is.
Yeah.
Brain Damage, 1988 by
Frank Henenlotter.
All right. Okay, our next pick is Cemetery Man by
Michel Savi.
1994. And
Yes.
Cemetery Man, Jesus Christ, dude.
What a fucking absurd movie.
Listen, I'm going to start off the top. This is an incel movie, okay? And I want to get into a lot of reasons as to why. Because this man victimizes himself the entire fucking movie.
He's a loser.
He's a loser.
This movie is about losers.
And then
but the whole town, man, they're just all losers. Like, this is about a small little town that sucks, filled with people who just suck.
Yeah.
And they don't do anything good. I think going into this, because for all of you that don't know, I actually haven't seen this one. I picked this one because it was on my list for years, and it was always told to me this is very funny and absurd, surreal, dark. So I thought I'd throw it on this so we could both get our reactions. And I'm fresh off of this. I just watched this today. And I didn't feel like my time was wasted at all. This is, I would honestly say, if it isn't like a 1 star, it's like a 4.5. Like, I don't know, I'm up there. Yeah.
You know what? I was reflecting a lot on my watch because I had a really fun time, and I was thinking, and as you guys know, I don't really like to reflect too much on ratings anymore, but I'm slowly trying to work my way back to kind of conveying my thoughts with star ratings, and I was feeling a strong 4, but just reflecting on it some more and thinking about
the jokes are
everything, and even not just the jokes. And we're getting into the pros now. The camera work is so interesting. There's shots where they're doing full 180s. The framing of our lead, who's played by Rupert Everett, Francesco, is. They frame everything in such a distinct way, in such a beautiful way, and in some absurd ways that plays into the comedy aspects of this movie. And and what I mean by when I say it's an incel movie, this dude is a loser, and he has victimized himself the whole movie. And even when he gets a chance at love and he loses that, he ends up. He ends up like spiraling into like this lonely, nobody wants me type of deal, and then he ends up envisioning that girl that he fell in love with in every girl that he sees and every girl that he feels slightly attracted, and he's like, dude, like that's her, like she wants me so bad.
I felt like it was laughing at him though. I didn't think it was
for sure. Yeah, no, I don't think it's endorsing him.
Okay,
but I do think that it's like it's very much.
You said that because he said that to me right off. He's like, I think it's an incel movie. I was like, oh yeah. I was like, whoa,
for sure.
So I was like,
it's making a critique. It's definitely laughing at him, especially with the ending of this movie. But the way that he is so pathetic, bro. It's
and it's not very like.
It adds a layer to the absurdity for sure.
And it is very like, I will say, I appreciated that it got pretty like, it got, how do I describe it? I guess you could say the correct term is it's not very politically correct with its humor.
Sure.
And some of that absurdity, it even shocked me where it went. And one of my favorites is like how it made like, there's a hilarious bit in the movie, and this goes into my pro, where I think the camera work, the characters, everything feels dreamlike, and I really love how the tone is just detached enough where you feel the impact of everything, but it's just detached enough where you can kind of just look at it and be like, it's like goofy. You don't feel sad. It's just, it's absurd. And I really liked this scene where he's in the hospital at the end, and there's a running gag that all his murders keep getting taken. So he's not getting the valor that he wants. He doesn't have the infamy.
Another layer of the incel argument about how he's such a loser. He's such an incel that he literally is like, damn, like I'm doing these murders and I'm not even getting recognized for them.
Yes. Well, and that plays into the joke in this scene where nurses and doctors keep walking in and he keeps shooting them in the head, and they don't put together 2 and 2 that it's him who's doing it.
Dude,
and that's what I loved about it.
The smoking bit where she's like, yeah, you can't be smoking anything. Like,
He said, shut up. And then
blast her. Then the next doctor that comes in, he's like, what's up with the nurse? He's like,
no, my
he's
favorite.
praying.
I
She's
wrote
praying.
it down. My favorite one is when he looks at the nurse who walks in and she sees the doctor and the nurse, and he's like, they dueled. Like, and he just the way he doesn't even look at her and shoots her. It's so funny.
It's insane.
I know, and it's just really memorable. Like I think of the motorcycle zombie and how he has like the pipes in his head, and he's eating his girlfriend, and she's like, I'm being eaten on my own time. It's my consent. It's my body, and he just shoots her, and he's just like, I don't know. It really commits to the bit, and you hear me harp on that all the time. I feel like a lot of movies tease us and they pull their punches. This doesn't. And I don't even really think there is a message. I don't even know.
You know, what I did pull from this movie is I do think that it's a little bit more nuanced in approach to his character, because even though he is a loser and an incel, I definitely kind of felt for him at the very end, because he was kind of like reaching for his freedom. He was kind of like, it was almost like he was like about to touch grass, and and kind of like reality kind of hit him in his face, where he was just like, oh, there is nowhere to go, because he realized, at least in my mind, he realized like he hasn't done anything for himself. He's kind of been just mellowing and just living with his anguish of pity. He just sits with this pity all the fucking time, and he like lashes out at the world and blames the world for his own shortcomings. And I think that he was faced with those shortcomings. He was faced with the reality of things and realizing like, you don't have anywhere to go. You haven't built your roads. You haven't built anything for your life for you to be anything other than a zombie killing guy at a cemetery.
True.
You know, and like
that's part of his job.
And he is pathetic even when he's presented with the opportunity to speak up to the mayor. He's sat right across from the mayor, and he doesn't bother to even bring up any of the issues that he feels about the cemetery, which he addresses in the beginning. And he's just kind of like sideline. He's like, yeah, I guess I'm just going to work this shitty job for the rest of my fucking life. And it's just that's what I pulled away from it. Like, I really do think this is kind of like a reflection of like, even when you reach the end of your road and you realize you build nothing, like, because you just like sat in your pity, you just sat with your own insecurities instead of doing anything about it. That's
so you pulled a lot about him. See, I was getting more kind of like about him, but I was getting more of like the overall like town he lived in, where it's like he kind of felt like I could relate to him in some respects of like being stuck. And they make a lot of jokes about the town. I think it's not on here, but I was going to say it's basically this small Italian town. And as someone who's from Upland, California, I can relate to that feeling of feeling stuck, like you're almost sinking in mud because the town is just eternal, the same. It's stagnant. There's no evolution of any kind. Yeah. So I took it more as like that feeling of like his life is just in complete stasis, and there's no forward projection. There's no, nothing to even reminisce about. Like, he's just kind of there. And I thought a lot of the humor and also some of the like sad undertones for me were coming from this idea of like, even from that same joke I mentioned, him not getting credit for his murder. It was like, that was part of the joke, is it's like, he's trying his hardest to do something to make this world he lives in feel just a little less small. And even going to the absurd lengths of committing public massacres, and it's still not enough. I have a lot more
sympathy for him than I do, because I honestly
I don't have sympathy. I just think it's
more
like,
understand him a little bit more in terms of like you're able to kind of piece together his actions, or
I don't think it's like an action thing. Because I don't even think it's like. I agree with you that, because I don't even think he's a good. I'm not saying this in the framework of he's a good person.
No, I think your take is very nuanced.
Okay.
I'm very curious. Like, when I say that you have a little bit more, I think you have more sympathy for him. Is that the word that you would use?
Sympathy for his plight, would you say?
Yeah,
I guess.
yeah.
Okay, kind of. Yeah. I guess it's more just like, I don't think it's. Because it seems like to me a lot of the other characters in this film are equally as absurd and stuck.
Sure.
So it's kind of like it's not that like he doesn't bring a lot of it on himself,
Yeah.
but I think there's almost like a cosmic angle to it, or
Sure.
like it's almost like
a product of your environment type of deal.
kind of a little bit like I was getting the feeling like this is just like the vibe of the entire place. They're all kind of absurd loony bin people.
Yeah.
And granted, I do think the themes of incel are there. There are, I would even joke, a lot of misogynist jokes in this.
Yeah, for sure. Well, that's like the
Yeah.
whole idea. He views his world through everyone that he encounters. He only views it through his way of viewing women, his way of viewing the world.
Yeah.
And I think this adds honestly more to what I'm thinking because like I don't even know how much of what is going on around him is real. As opposed to like the town and even like the way that people act, because you know even the confessions of this woman who admits to enjoying the rape and when I was watching this as you were as I was rewatching it when you were watching it for the first time, I just kind of took away like oh my god, like she's like, oh, and I love him now, and I'm gonna run away with him and marry. And a lot of sick, twisted mentalities of some men are like, oh, when they're raped, and this is some disgusting stuff, right? Trigger warning. When a woman is raped, like some of them enjoy it. Like some of the more extremist people who like excuse these actions, right? They're like, oh, I can't love a woman who's been raped. You know, that's like kind of like an incel type of thinking. It like a man who is like who is a misogynist, who doesn't view women as like an equal. And as she's saying this, I feel like he's only hearing this. Like he's hearing this woman confess something that is like painful, but in his mind he was like, oh, she liked it and she's running away with him actually.
Okay,
and like
so you saw it as the butt of the joke,
right? And like and he's like, wow, I sacrificed all of this for nothing for her to get raped. And I was like, oh my god, like he's literally just viewing it that way.
Okay, well, because I thought because this is how I interpreted it, because I thought it was the end of another bit where like, so this woman, so he is impotent. And the joke is that he finally meets a woman who's like, I'm into impotent men, or essentially.
Yeah, I'm into losers.
But at that point, you know, role reversal happens. He's like, wait, I'm not impotent anymore. So he induces impotence. Yeah. So I saw it as an end to that joke, because he's like, there's no way, like there would have to be out of incidents that could happen from A to Z, you'd have to do all of them for me to not work out. Yeah. That was the Z, where it was like, I thought it was like the literal most stupid, absurd thing, because even the way she's saying it and how she's saying it, I'm like, this is so stupid. Like, this is so dumb.
Exactly. It is dumb, because no one no one admits to that. Like, no one says that, and I think that's literally just his view of her saying of her recollection of the accounts. Whereas, like in his mind, he's done so much for her. But for her to get raped is like almost a betrayal of him, because a lot of men do think that way. A lot of men think that once they get raped, like, oh, like I can't be with you, because like and that I mean, men who are like detached from reality, men who view women as less than, who want to own women, and he views women in a very misogynistic way. And so him hearing about the woman that he loves get raped is like, oh, like, I did all of this for you, and for what? For you to get raped. And that's like it's a very sick and twisted joke in a way that makes fun of him still, right? Because it's still, in my mind, I'm like, it's showing us more of his character, more of how he views the world, and he is such a loser and so detached from reality that's the case for this. I don't know. That's my takeaway from the scene.
Fair. See, it's interesting because I think I agree with you to a degree. I just think that undertone, well, because I was thinking of like, this movie is a specific type of humor where it's like so shocking to the point where like no one could tangibly believe something or do that, because it's just so impossible. Yeah. And I guess what I was getting from this movie is I was like, okay, since it's not based in reality, because we are talking about people coming back from the dead, it's going into humor that would only work in that world, because it's like macabre in general. He's seeing dead people come to life all the time. So I felt like what I was getting was like, from the humor of this movie, was like, it's very inappropriate, it's very dark, but it's like, it fits the world it lives in, because I couldn't see it I couldn't see this movie with any other type of humor. And for example, my favorite one is this is actually one of the funniest bits, and I still don't even know what the joke was, actually, kinda. It's when and he has a mentally disabled assistant, by the way, who just he collects bullets I've wrote down a list of his chores. He collects bullets for him to kill zombies. He makes sure everything is neatly stacked, the leaves. And then he watches TV. This is what this guy does.
Dude, the bit at the beginning where he's like raking the leaves and the wind blows.
I wrote down this line. He says he hates when leaves get blown away. It actually disturbs him. And one of my favorite shots was
lying down in the barrel, like no.
And Nagi is his name. There's a shot of Nagi looking at the mayor's daughter, and at first you think like, oh, he's into her. Like you think it's gonna be the shot where it's like, ooh, like he's falling in love with her. It's not. It just holds on this uncomfortable shot of him, and he's just making this face, and then he just throws up all over the table. And then the daughter falls down, and the dad just goes, oh, I didn't mean it, the mayor. And then a guy on a motorcycle pulls up. She instantly looks up, covered in vomit, and goes, can I ride with you? And rides away. And it's just sequence after sequence of shit like this. And then gets ran over, and you see her head explode.
Fuck.
So that's what I'm saying is it's like this movie is like bonkers. It's like, I say use this phrase, it's like a cartoon a lot. And I said that about Each of the Killer even. This is an actual cartoon.
Yeah,
I would say.
I love our different interpretations of these scenes.
Because I think you pulled a lot of darker themes from it.
For sure. And I mean, even the ending,
I would say darker interpretations.
Even the ending of the movie, and of course, if you have not seen this,
I actually think the ending is dark.
We entered into some spoiler territory. Listen, if you're listening to these podcast episodes, go watch the movie. It's super exciting to talk about these movies with you guys when you guys have watched it. And I want to talk about the ending. Like I said, and I was touching upon this earlier, he's reflecting a lot upon his life and realizes, like I said, he has nowhere to go because he hasn't built that life for him. He just thinks that everything should be handed to him. That's why even when he gets to that end of the road, and I think it's kind of symbolic for him to slam on the brakes and once again hurt his brother in the, or I don't know if it's brother or friend. Is it brother?
You're talking about Nagi?
Yeah, Nagi.
No, he's just a guy. Like we don't know how he found him.
Yeah, so it's kind of on brand for him to hurt him when he once again recognizes his shortcomings.
and I'm sorry, I'm just thinking of the shot of him hitting the brakes and Nagi hitting the dash.
And I find it kind of I would think, because he speaks at the end, right? Nagi ends up speaking perfectly fine.
Yeah,
I think that his view of the world, and I don't even think he's mentally disabled, I'll be honest with you.
No,
I think he's a normal guy, but he literally just views him lesser than human.
Yes.
And so everything that we see of Nagi is a caricature of his own imagination.
Fair.
And like he's just like he's always thought less, and that's why at the end he talks normally. That's the reality. The reality is he is a normal person, and I want to say that he's mentally disabled. I think that he's actually just he thinks of himself so fucking highly that he would think that he's smarter than everyone around him. And that's why he ends up saying Nagi at the end, because he's like recognizing like, oh my God, it is me. I have been the problem. I have had my shortcomings. I haven't built anything for myself. I'm the one that isn't as intelligent as the people around me. And I think that was my interpretation with that ending.
Okay, yeah. I definitely agree with you on the self-indulgence. I definitely think that's there. And I think it's very funny they cast Rupert Everett in this role, because I think he's kind of perfect for it. And I think him being a beautiful person kind of made the role even funnier. Yeah. Because I think it's almost like him not understanding he's self-indulgent and pretty made the absurdity work even better for me.
Yeah, 100%. Cemetery Men, 1994.
Yes.
If you haven't seen it, you have to watch this. You have to watch this immediately. This is available on...
Watch this with friends, too. This is a great, drunk watch.
Dude, yes. I took a shot before I watched this movie.
Oh, yeah, perfect.
It was great.
Yeah,
I had a blast.
Take a pen rip or something. I
had a blast. Cemetery Man, 1994. I'd say 4.5. I'd say 4. Possibly even 5.
4.5. Yeah, I'd say 4.5.
Possibly even 5. I feel like some of this,
because honestly, you kind of actually what you just said right now kind of made me start interpreting it a little different. Okay.
I do feel like there's a lot of layers to this movie that there's a lot that this movie is tackling that feels very like it feels like it shouldn't be there, or it isn't there until you start to break down their characters. The comedy's great. The prosthetics fucking incredible.
Oh yeah,
All
the
stuff
Angel of
is-
Death looks insane.
There's
this
some
film.
incredible imagery in this movie. Yeah, I would definitely give this a 4.5. Cemetery Man, working class frame rate.
Sayonara.
And for our fourth film, we have Brain Dead, directed by
Peter Jackson.
1992.
Yes, sir.
And continuing this this slimy trend, this one takes the fucking cake, bro.
This one's actually still pretty vile.
So, what is the case of, or what's up with the case of this being banned? Because I was reading online and it was really hard to find until you sent me like the YouTube link. By the way, if you're watching our podcast or listening and you have not seen Brain Dead, go watch Brain Dead. It is on YouTube. You can just pull it up, and it's the uncut version.
Yeah, it's
but
also
it's banned. I don't
yeah.
understand that.
Which is funny because like I don't get why it's so hard to attain because like there was a Blu-ray release unrated. I mean, it's literally the American Blu-ray that's ripped on that video. So I'm like I guess someone just didn't want to hold the rights, or I don't know. It's a strange situation.
It's so funny because this makes perfect sense to be on like an HBO Max or quite really any streaming. Like don't get me wrong, Brain Dead is a slimy, crazy, unbelievable at times what they're doing with the prosthetics and the blood and the and the sound design.
Like gore, I haven't seen replicated. Like that's what's crazy to me is like watching it. I was like, dude, I don't think I've seen these visuals replicated in another movie. And on top of it, like I don't like for a movie from 1992, it's still gross. Like, and in terms of like squeamish, like I actually felt myself at points getting like really nauseous because I was like, it's a little too realistic.
Yeah.
And the smell and the sound design, I was like, like I don't know, it was giving me a headache thinking about it.
I think it's really like the sound design. The sound design adds so much to this movie. I think it's underrated. I think you'd watch this and you would immediately think like, wow, the prosthetics. Which don't get me wrong, prosthetics is just as incredible. But I think that what's going on is the sound design. It brings it to this a surreal feeling because you could literally feel the eyes and everything that they're touching in the slime. It's like you could almost feel it crawling on your skin because of that sound design.
And then the comedic tone over it. Like I was thinking about how like
it's
actually
so
funny
stupid,
it is.
yeah.
Like there's so many of the gore sequences are like bits. And I specifically, you know, like there's some like I was thinking of the one where like the guy gets his like face pulled off and it's just the skull and like I don't know, it's so gross, but it's so funny and almost like carnival-esque that I was like I couldn't help but like kind of giggle a bit. It's like,
dude, you know what I was thinking? So I have this crazy analogy for Brain Dead and it's critique. There's a lot of critique. Everybody's critique of Brain Dead, or at least a lot of this, is it's a Temu Evil Dead, or like it's copying too much like Evil Dead. Oh, that's
so disrespectful. And this is actually crazy good.
I'll be honest with you. I mean, both are great.
Oh, right? Well, yeah, not over the other, but I just like, dude, this is like
you hate Evil Dead.
Dude, this is like honestly, I kind of like I love Evil Dead. This is not this is no shade, but like, dude, this is so gory and funny that it's like. I don't even want to start the like versus conversation because I think they're both unique, but like I'm sorry, like if you're gonna put them up against each other, it's like Brain Dead kind of boxes it a little bit. Like
I'm not gonna lie. I mean, if I really had to choose between the two, Evil Dead is a little bit more controlled. Like
fair.
Here's the thing. Like you're right. Like we shouldn't even start the versus thing. And I have a crazy analogy for our listeners, and I wanted to make a TikTok video about this, but I'm probably still am. But I wanted to share it on the pod before it hits the interwebs. I think Brain Dead. So here we go. Right? I'm gonna set up the stage. Playboy Cardi, Shay, Whole Lot of Red, and Rest in Base. Sam Raimi's Evil Dead, Peter Jackson's Brain Dead. Now, here's where I'm gonna go. Right. Mm-hmm. So when Evil Dead comes out, just like Whole Lot of Red, it was revolutionary, especially for the horror genre. The gore that it had, everything that it was doing, it was revolutionary. It was taking horror in a new direction. Yes, and that's the same thing with Whole Lot of Red. A lot of new ideas were presented. It was not pretty. It was not like over the top. A lot of people forget that Whole Lot of Red doesn't have a lot of like abrasive screaming tracks. There's about 3 or 4. And
it's way more subdued.
Yeah, and it is definitely very electronic. There's a lot of stuff that influence like rage, like the rage genre for hip hop. Yeah. The same thing with Evil Dead. Evil Dead 1 definitely has a lot of gore, but he ended up doing more in Evil Dead 2. And like it's still like it was still revolutionary for its time, and it definitely revolutionized the horror genre. And now we have Brain Dead. Brain Dead, which comes out later, which is clearly influenced by Evil Dead.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
without a doubt, right? Like, and it teeters on this line of like going to the extremes of like everything that Evil Dead was, and in that same vein, you have the Shay album, which is this is crazy because if people are listening
Dude, this
right
is
now,
so deep.
This
Like,
is deep. Yeah, this is deep. Sorry to our listeners.
We're cutting so deep.
Yeah, sorry to our listeners if you don't know where I'm going with this. But the Shay album, Shay's a rapper who in many respects sounds a lot like Playboi Carti. At least the sound does for this new album.
Similar core.
And it is everything that the abrasive tracks from Whole Lotta Red was, but like taken to another level on like almost every single track in every single way.
I don't even think your analogy's that bad, by the way. Like if you know, you know. Like it's not terrible.
Anyways, we've ranted about analogies and just great stuff. Look, Brain Dead is a fucking banger.
Bro, I'm looking at some of these
banger.
cuts that each country made. Like, dude, when it was released in America, it's the unrated cut's 97 minutes. They cut it down to 85 minutes. That's like almost 12 minutes of footage. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
And then, like, I was reading, like it's banned in Singapore and South Korea. I think it's not in Finland anymore. But, like, you know, it's funny, too, because, like, you know, there's so many films that aren't banned that I actually think are kind of worse than this. But it's like...
that's what I'm saying. I was going to say, when I was watching this, I was like, this is definitely bad, right? Like,
but it's more of a ick factor, like just like like I don't know, because like I was thinking of like the rat monkey and like how like they had like the thing that causes the infection is like this stop motion monkey that has a rat head but it's a monkey body, and like little jokes like that were just gross. I don't know, like I loved it. And also too, Peter Jackson too, like watching this, I kind of forgot like he made the Lord of the Rings for the second. And then, but in the opening scene, it says like they're on Skull Island, which obviously, if you know as a film fan, that's the name of the island King Kong's on. Yeah. So it's like I was like, dang, it's like even in this weird little like fucked up movie, you can still see Peter Jackson in it, like the future.
Oh yeah, no, 100%.
Which is crazy, and for him to go from this to the Lord of the Rings trilogy is like that's crazy. Insane glow up. But,
you know, I was noticing some shots in the park when they were on their date in the beginning. I was like, this looks like a scene like from out of Lord of the Rings, and like
New Zealand. Well, I was gonna say, you know, also too, I think the main character is really funny because his whole arc is like he's just trying to battle his really mean mom, and then he just has a baddie that spiritually, by the way, ordained by the film, they're supposed to fall in love. Through this zombie event. And
no, it's funny. There's this tarot card reading, and I wrote down here in the beginning where the dad was like, "Oh, romance? What about money?" Like that was such a good.
And it's funny because she doesn't even want him originally. Like she's just like, "Oh, I want Roger," and she's like, "It's not Roger." Like,
there's so many funny moments in this movie. Like the entire movie is hilarious.
The oily baby getting kicked around the whole movie, bro. When he was like banging its head on the swing, I was like, "Dude, this is like something we would do." Like it's
like
so
what a crazy cutaway, because we've been in like this hell world, and like suddenly he has to be like a dad, and like he goes to the park with this
baby
kid,
and like I liked how the baby like the sound design for it, like it has like its voice, it's like so like it just like there's so many shots of it just like running, and sometimes you can tell it's an actual little person like running in the suit. They just made the room look a little bigger, and the way it's just like honestly, I was like, bro, this is like
it's insane.
The dumbest bit, but it's amazing.
I love the bit where
your mother ate my dog. I wrote the quote down.
You know, I wrote down about the custard scene and the dinner table scene. That scene was nauseating, probably more than a lot of the bloodier scenes, just because them eating the way that she was
the
eating.
way the paste looks,
dude. Or the fact that she was like squirting blood all over, and like it wasn't even like excessive. I think it was just the fact that it was landing in the food, and the way that it lands in the custard, and then the husband takes
the sound design being like
it's just like, again the sound design just makes everything so much worse in this movie in the best way possible.
Dude, I mean, we haven't even talked about like that last third with the lawnmower, dude. That
let's wait. Let's
you want to wait about that?
Yeah, we're still covering. So there's so much ground to cover.
Yeah,
with
and technically this takes place in the 50s. Like that's also what's funny is it's like once again the B movie plotting. It's like the zombies come to town, but it's the nastiest fucking movie you've ever seen. Yeah, and I was thinking like also, I really love. how like it really like it's not just like a horror movie. Like there's actual bits. Like sometimes because like I feel like a lot of times horror comedies will infuse the comedy with the horror, but this one actually just like has scenes of just bits, and I kind of appreciated that. Like it also just worked as a comedy. Like the humor was funny.
Yeah, I kick ass for the Lord.
Yeah, I kick ass for the Lord. I love that
fucking
scene.
priest, just
Dude, and the way he's actually doing kung fu, like he sweeps his feet. And
dude,
shit.
I was impressed by the choreography of that scene. Like they were actually going fucking hard,
just
like,
for the head to land on him.
yeah. At the end, like he was like kicking so much ass. And then when it just a head falls on his shoulder, and that's the way that he goes out.
Like, So I just remember that shot of him just like it looks so funny as it's like dangling off of him,
dude. You know what? And before we get into the third act, I was gonna say I think that it's so. I was like watching the third act, and I was like, this is fucking crazy, but it's also so crazy how we've been in the third act like the whole movie.
Dude,
it's so relentless, and I just couldn't believe like how much time and effort and just like
detail.
There's so much that this movie has to offer that doesn't save it for the third act. It's just it's just greatness for like an hour and 20, because there's a 15-20 minute setup, maybe 15 minutes
It's
at
very
most before
quick.
everything just like starts to go balls to the fucking wall.
Yeah, I literally just wrote the entire third act is just explosively gory. And also, like, great gags there. Like, you know, since we're already in that third act, I was thinking about the light bulb in the zombie's head, and it was, like, glowing. And then there was, like...
In the kitchen?
Yes, yeah. And then the uncle where his, like,
right.
his spinal cord had his head on, like, a little... but like really cool. And I was thinking about how like young Peter Jackson was when he's made this. And I also like I had a funny bit in my head where I was like, dude, cleaning up that fucking place after the like lawnmower spraying the blood everywhere. They should just have a documentary called "Clean This Shit Up." Like, and it's just them cleaning that house.
Oh my god!
I was like, that's insane. Because it keeps going, and like that's what impressed me was like. I was like, okay, like when's this budget just like getting eviscerated? You can't have this much gore effects, and it just keeps going. And I'm like,
it's crazy. I had to look up the budget, and I
think it's like $3 million. I saw
Let's see the
or was that because it was a bomb, which is really shocking to me because I don't know, like I can't imagine this coming out.
$3 million.
$3 million. Oh, see. You see where that $3 million went, and you can feel the $3 million in the effects.
100%.
Yeah,
I mean $3 million for a horror film in the this is 1982. So that's pretty good.
That's pretty good.
That's pretty good. It's like a little bit above a indie filmmaker.
That's like more than the Terrifier budget. Like,
for
like Terrifier, the highest I think it's.
But Terrifier is like an anomaly. We can get into that.
Oh, fair.
Because like we're making Terrifier 2 with 250,000 in 2022 is absurd.
True.
Is absurd. Yeah, that's fucking great. That's a whole different conversation. But dude, that third act and the meaning of this movie, it's so funny. I have a mutual who wrote down on their letterbox that was like, I hate boy moms, and it's really just like
kind of the joke
learning
of the movie.
I mean, even from the beginning when he was going on dates and she like goes to the zoo. I mean, this whole thing takes place because
like
she wanted to go spy on her son, like on a date.
And that's what I was gonna say. Yeah, she like literally like ruins his chances at points, and then on top of it, she gets bit by the fucking rat monkey. And I was just thinking too is like I love the thread of like how like astronomically evil the mom was, because like when she turns into the giant prosthetic creature at the end and she's like, you will not leave me. I was just like, dude, like I like that the story is really simple and it like takes the joke to its like most extreme conclusion. It doesn't like convolute it, which I appreciated.
Dude, talk about that giant prosthetic in the third act, because I'm down to get into this third act.
Dude, this third act is crazy.
Yeah.
It's
it's
an endless effects reel.
There's so much to talk about this movie, so I do want to go one thing before we go into that third act.
What's up?
I found it so funny that the dinner table scene and just how he's taking care of them like babies.
Yeah.
He's like, here's your breakfast, and like, oh, take the spoon out of the back of your mouth, Tommy, and like they started like making out and
the zombies are like fucking on the table.
Yeah, dude, what the fuck?
It's gross. Yeah, like it's really like the ultimate like teenager movie where it's like if you're like 15 and you're like, I want to make the grossest movie I've ever seen, dude, it's this.
Shout out Peter Jackson,
dude.
Yeah,
I'm glad. I hope one day bro can hopefully make something like this again.
I
know, but that's just my deepest.
Is he alive?
Yeah, I hope.
Yeah, he's still alive. Thank
God. I mean, this era was great too. Meet the Feebles, Brain Dead, Heavenly Creatures is amazing.
So what about Bad Taste? Is Bad Taste?
That's his that I would say that is his Evil Dead. Like that was like his first. That's the one with the famous poster with like the flip off in front.
Yeah. See it.
It's okay. I think it's what was his next one? Oh, it was Meet the Feebles. That one's really because it's puppets.
Yeah,
it's like an R-rated puppet movie. But then after Meet the Feebles, he did Brain Dead. So I was like, Brain Dead's really like his first like knockout feature.
Dude, the third act. Now let's get into the third act.
Okay.
And I mean,
it's just one giant FX reel.
The entire house scene and the kills and everything. But really, I want to stray even further away from it. Because, look, all the kills in the third act, I don't even want to talk about them. I mean, up to you if there's anything that stands out to you. Because, like, I think that it is something that it just has to be seen. Like, I can tell you. Oh, yeah. I can tell you, like, it's just a gore fest. There's so much action and prosthetics and I mean we talked about the face being pulled off with the skull, like that was great.
Yeah,
but it's
there's
just
so many though.
It's like, an incredible feat for practical effects and gore and just horror in general, that it is a movie that gives, especially with this third act, and then gives you more. Like somehow it seems to top itself every step of the way.
This is very impressive. Dude, Peter Jackson was 29 years old when he made this.
That's fucking crazy.
And I was like, dude, I think that's really cool, man.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's why I think this movie really like won me over, especially in that third act. You know, I actually agree with you. I'm not going to spoil many of the kills, but like, it's just like rarely do films get to just be such an open madhouse like this with such a budget. And I just think that's like, this is such a gem in independent filmmaking. And specifically, like, the trajectory of independent filmmakers to their careers. Like, especially, like, this all the way to The Lord of the Rings. It's like, dude, that's such a run. Like, that's crazy.
What in it, like, I you know, maybe I'm tapped out, but I do know that people talk about Brain Dead a lot.
Yes.
But I still feel like either I'm not tapped out or I feel like they need to talk about it more.
No, they need to talk about. Well, see, that's the thing is, like, I actually think, like, it's not talked about enough. Like, I think
because this is insane. This is such an insane movie. And again, when I talked about the third act and I was saying I wanted to talk about it, I wanted to bring up about the mom and just the oversized like demon that she becomes with like her butt cheeks hanging out, like it's just so silly, dude. Like,
it has like the horse face, like it's
dude.
like crazy. It's actually like, if you look at all the details, it's kind of fucked up. Like, it's like half her face is hanging off.
Her teeth, her jaw is like open. Like that shit was it was amazing to witness, and just like,
and I love Lionel, the main character, trying to combat all this because he's just kind of like an oaf.
Yeah,
and I know, and also like shout out the physical comedy too. Like this is borderline like Three Stooges at points. Like, I was
dude, for sure.
Which is funny because that's another Sam Raimi similarity I find interesting, is he's also a Three Stooges fan. That's why Ash is always doing a lot of physical comedy. So like I liked that aspect of too, and I miss that too. Like I miss physical comedy and like actors doing stunts and like in terms of just like, I don't know, even just for a comedy to do stunts, like not even, it doesn't have to be an action film, you know?
Yeah, no, 100%. And I mean the entire roof sequence with her hanging off the side, him battling his mom, and then him like being ate up by the stomach of his mom. Which I found that to be a kind of like a birthing allegory where he returns back to form, and then he's just like. He punctures out of her stomach and like kills her with the fucking.
Dude, if your mom evil, you're gonna relate to this. Like,
this is a feat to just witness. It's so much fun.
Cool.
And I can't believe this is on YouTube. I spent like the night before scouring the internet, and it's funny because I saw a comment on YouTube that said the same thing. I was looking on illegal websites. I found it on effed up movies, but I was just trying to find subtitles so I could watch it with subtitles. Because it is on a couple of websites, but it's still really hard to find, even on illegal websites. And then the next morning I wake up and I tell Austin that this is like an impossible movie to find. And he's like, he sends me the YouTube link. I'm like, oh shit, instantly, just crazy. So if you're listening to this and you haven't seen Brain Dead, you have to watch Brain Dead. It's on YouTube. Peter Jackson,
unrated,
and like you're telling me, a lot of Peter Jackson's earlier work is just fun.
It's really, dude, especially Meet the Feebles. It's like super dark humor. He loves dark humor.
Shout out Peter Jackson. Brain Dead, 1992. What are you rating this?
I gotta give this 5, man. I just think
Yeah.
this is a banger. Like, I don't know, like what it sets out to do is so crystal clear and committed, and it for a 29-year-old young filmmaker to just make something probably gorier than most films I've ever seen. It's just like I gotta give bro his credit.
Yeah.
It's just great.
Brain Dead, Peter Jackson, 1992. And our fifth and final choice is Tales from the Hood,
Yes.
1995 by
Rusty Kundiev.
and an anthology movie.
Yes, I
a
picked an anthology.
hilarious movie. And a cult
And
classic.
frightening.
Cult classic. A lot of
Yeah.
I did see this on a lot of people's lists. A lot of my musicians have already watched this. It's
and still relevant to today.
yeah, it is
Very relevant.
it's so much fun. This movie is so much fun. And honestly a lot darker than I was expecting it to go.
Yeah.
Especially the way and the tone that it starts off with.
Yeah, where they go into the mortuary.
Yeah,
And they meet Clarence. I think his name is Clarence. Yes, Clarence Williams III.
Yeah, Mr. Sims.
Yeah,
Mr. Sims.
I also love his look with the cigar and like the hair. It's so iconic.
And the way that it's like on the banner on the letterbox with just his image. It's just it's iconic at this point. Yeah, Tales from the Hood is
Well
phenomenal
shot.
stuff. Yeah, I love the first story. I love the first story with just this
the imagery.
the imagery of the man with the cop with the needles and the syringe and just the correlation between like these cops who just ended up bullying this man who joined the police force thinking that he could change it from the inside, which at least
But you're forgetting one specific detail about him.
tell me.
He's African American.
Well, yeah, I'm not forgetting that piece.
Well,
like,
no, but like I only add that because like there is this. I think one of the more interesting themes of this story is this idea of like him finally doing the right thing and sort of righting is wrong, but like because of him sort of siding with them originally, that sort of cosmic punishment that comes with it. You know?
No, 100%. I mean that's why I was saying like it's really the case of like when any person of color, you know, black or Mexican who ends up joining the and I mean this goes for any person of color, not just black and Mexican, but like people who join the police force intrinsically when a system that is built to oppress and like you know beat down on people of color, and they join it thinking that they could change it from the
Stop the
inside.
segregation.
I mean, first person I think about is Chris Donner, right? Like, and how he also reported, and it's crazy because that situation happened after Tales from the Hood, and in many ways it rings very similar to what happened there because, you know, he tried to raise awareness and raise the alarm about racist acts within the LAPD, and he pretty much got laughed out of his job. He got bullied from his
Well, he also
force
just got
and-
told to fuck off. Basically.
Yeah. I mean that's what I'm saying. Like he got told just to leave it alone and shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
And
Don't get rowdy.
And that's when he kind of broke and his psyche broke and he decided to start killing off LAPD members, which was, you know, definitely an insane, but also you could see where someone's psyche breaks from like being bullied out of your job, seeing the discrimination that happens within your job, and then just being told to shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
And-
Well, and you know, I was thinking like also the brutality of like this stagnant system, because that scene where specifically the cops in this section kill a famous attorney who's like prosecuting all of these corrupt cops for selling drugs. That scene when like they actually like pick him up and beat him up is like really hard to watch.
Yeah, and they put the drugs in his car and they drive his car off like
And
Jesus
like
Christ.
and like
dude.
that's why I really love when Morehouse is his name comes back, and I love how he's almost like there's like this like cosmic Old Testament punishment to him.
Yeah.
And I especially the actor's eyes. I love he has these like blue contacts in, and every wide shot of him you see just the blue, and it's really creepy. It's really cool, and as you were saying, it's like I like how that sort of brings that back full circle at the end of that, where he, you know, they get the revenge, and you think like, oh, okay, like everything's okay, but then it's kind of like him just being like, but you ultimately like betrayed me and us, and I you know, it's really like, you know, I think you think of like, well, because especially when I was, you know, rewatching this, you know, I think a lot of people go into this like, oh, Tales from the Hood. They think of like Leprechaun to the Hood or like something kind of silly. And like, it's really like impressive how nuanced it is and how creative it is. And I love how, especially in that segment, it feels like it brings up these ideas in a way that's like lets you like understand it without spoon feeding you, and I really respected that about it. It doesn't like beat you over the head. It's very striking with what it says when it does say something.
Yeah, dude. I mean, you even have the dad abuser story, which was
with David Alan Grier as the abuser. I only mention his name because if you obviously know the history of David Alan Grier, he not all the time, but he was kind of seen as like a very like positive figure, like, you know, a father figure kind of like role.
Wow.
So seeing him, you know, I remember watching this documentary where a lot of people were saying that, yeah, seeing him in that role was like crazy because it was like, that's David Allen.
Well, he's in They Clone Tyrone, which is crazy too.
Yeah, no.
And Stuart Little.
And great acting from everyone, by the way. Everyone this is funny.
100%.
Oh, that story I thought was really heartbreaking. I actually think that's the most pain. Yeah, Stuart Little. That's the struggle of the NYC grind.
Yeah,
but, you know,
yeah.
No, but that story with David Alan Grier I found really sad because it does this really good build-ups with the story where I like how they don't even address it at first. They're like, he just has the monster. Yeah. And there's this repeating shot of a door with like a growl behind it. I love the reveal of the stepdad being abuser where you see the shadow come in and it's a monster's outline on the wall, but then you see his hand come into frame and it's just him.
Yeah.
And I loved all the visual metaphor.
Yeah, or even like the sound of the monster and it's just his figure as a shadow.
And then when he starts talking, the distortion, it's really, I don't know, like little details like that were just like, whoa.
That story was heartbreaking to watch, especially like seeing how the teacher and how so many educators have to be like a child's safe space. And then there's nuance in addressing like, especially knowing like not to call the cops in a situation like that, especially when you are in this case black, but in other cases you know, just a person of color and like in like a lesser more of a poor neighborhood, you know, and calling the cops is never really like the first option because it could just cause more harm. But knowing that this family is like going through it because the dad is just an abuser and
the mom's complicity. Once again, enablers. We talked about this last week.
Yeah, just it's fucking sad, man. And I do love the ending of that little story and just them being able to like beat up or just use the kid's
imagination.
Yeah, imagination, his ability, his superpowers to be able to just crumple him up.
And the visual of like his arm bending and all that.
So good.
It's so cool. It's
so
really
good.
Well done.
Just a perfect little revenge story with a lot of nuance.
And then my favorite story, the third story.
The third story is your favorite story.
I love that story. I love the build up. I love the payoff, and I love like the messaging because like I think it's essentially about, if I remember correctly, I don't remember if he's running for re-election or if he's just election, but there's this essentially like. It's kind of funny because Donald Trump was not a Republican figure at this time. Yeah. But the way this guy dresses and looks, it's almost like cosmic that he kind of just looks and acts like Trump.
Yeah.
But he basically moves into this historical plantation as a symbolic fuck you against people against his re-election. Yeah. And there's this mural on the wall of a woman who, I don't remember exactly if she shepherded the people from this place or basically she sort of like kept the grounds together because there was a massacre on this at one point. She kept it like as a sacred ground.
Yeah.
And sort of these dolls that come off of the wall out of the paint start to haunt him and attack him. And I just thought it was really fun. It was really good at sort of getting its message across quick.
I think this was like the most straightforward.
Yes. And the revenge felt so good and like justified and really well like creative though. I love the build up with like he looks at the wall and there's one less doll on the wall.
Yeah, I think this is the most fun out of all of them.
Yeah.
And in many respects it has probably some of the more it's so crazy because this episode is definitely, or this story is the most straightforward one, but it is probably one of the more darker, like the darkest one, period. Because I mean, obviously, you're talking about slaves who ended up. I believe did they buy back the house, or they just ended up taking over the house?
It just became like the sort of like local lore of it is like no one bought it because like there was this massacre.
That's right.
Hundreds of slaves died.
They respected the grounds of it because it was almost like a grave site for the bodies of slaves.
Kind of like a historical site. Like it's more just like there is like a. Kind of like a museum a little bit.
Yeah, and him moving in is like pissing on the graves.
Yeah.
Like he's just like, I don't
know. Well, and not only that, like there's like lines where he straight up just says like it didn't happen or like he downplays their suffering and he's like it's not a big deal. And like they really do a good job of making you fucking hate this guy. So when he starts getting fucked with, you're like, yeah.
You know what's crazy is that like as you were mentioning the parallels to Trump, I'm even seeing parallels just within like a lot of just stupid ass like right wingers and Nazis who just like downplays slavery,
like a gimmick.
Like, and it's just.
Well, because I was thinking, like, even what he did, like, getting the gravesite to piss them off, I was like, yeah, that's, like, something, like, an alt-right YouTuber would do, or 100%. Something, like, just be like, hey, guys.
So are you triggered?
This
like,
isn't
are
the
you
Democratic
triggered?
plantation.
Right.
You know, like, something like that. Which is funny, because that's way ahead of its time, too. This is 1995, and I was surprised that, like, it got me thinking about that. Like, I was like, whoa.
It's crazy. But, you know, this leads me... I think the story itself is incredible. I think it ends great. I love...
Yes.
I love the parallels, too, just of, like... this guy who's like kind of enabling him. I don't know if it's his assistant or whatever.
Oh, are you talking about the guy who's like helping him with his image? Like he's basically his marketing campaign.
Yeah, he's like, oh, you gotta just embrace it and like you just like.
Also, he's not white either, so that's
no, exactly. And I think back to like Hispanics who like helped Trump and like got up on that stage and just like danced for him and sang music and that banger ass song. I will vote for Donald Trump. Like, I love that song.
Yeah.
But you know, it causes pain. It causes pain with me because I'm just like, oh my god, like look at these fucking idiots, dude. Like, why would you do this to? And it's like gets slapped in the face of the community. And you know, and I can't speak for the black community here, but I'm sure there's like tons of people who have definitely helped out, like racist politicians, racist people, to appeal to a larger demographic that excuses their racist behavior and just allows them to continue by figuring out how to market themselves to people of color, and it's disgusting. And I think that they touched upon that really well in this story. It's a great little point. But that does lead me into the fourth and final story, which I actually think is my favorite one out of all of them.
You know, as much as I love the third one the best, I think the most striking imagery is in that last one.
Yeah, dude, I have vivid memories of him being in that isolation room and the flashing light, and just there's so much to the story that I think it's mainly because I don't know, it's just seeing them like fight within them, fight gang violence and then becoming a system or a product of the system of the jails, the industrial complex of the prison industrial complex.
And also how like I love the conversation between the guy who killed the man in the beginning of it and the white supremacist, and how the white supremacist says to him like, you're doing my job, like thank you. And the idea of like, I was getting from this, it's sort of about analyzing how people like this character, Crazy K is his name, sort of kill black men and destroy their local settings in a way that enables and supports white supremacy, and sort of acts in the way that like they want them to be that homicidal monster. And like I there's sort of a Clockwork Orange type sequence in this where he's like having all of his actions and all these images of minorities being killed by white supremacy plastered in front of him. And I thought that was a really interesting analysis. And really spiritual too. Like I was getting a lot of like soul searching in this one.
Yeah, you know what? I struggle a little bit with the messaging a little bit in this one, just because it can easily be dissected as like a black on black crime, and whereas I think that the message is way deeper than that, right? Like
I think for many people it will come off like that unless you know,
right? And I don't know if that's like a failure upon the way that the story is told, but I will say that my interpretation is how you're talking about white supremacy and just how I don't think that it's necessarily they are doing the job of white supremacy, which intrinsically they could be, right? Like it's just aligned with how they want them to be. At least they want to shape them into forming, but I think it's because of the systems that they set up. White supremacy sets up a system to where you are not allowed to succeed. You are not allowed to make it out unless you are, selling drugs or playing sports, which a lot of pathways has been for a lot of people of color, including Mexicans too. Like that is the only way out. And obviously times have changed. and there's more opportunities now. Although there are still a lot of systems set in place for us to continuously fail because of the class disparities.
Yes.
But ultimately, that is all a product of white supremacy to maintain us below the status quo, so that way we are never able to succeed. Which is why there's a lot of conversations now about the replacement theory, and just knowing that in a couple of years and maybe a little under a decade, that white people will become a minority, and they're starting to feel threatened because they realize that the playing field is starting to become even, although there's still a lot of disparities.
Well, it's like playing into the division. Like that's what I meant by like with the white supremacists is it's like, I don't think it's saying like, oh, obviously, like it's very clear for the white supremacist who says some evil shit is worse. I think it's more like, it's like he's participating in that system of division designed by people like that guy. And I think the point of that scene was coming off to me of him being like there's a line he says to him. He's like, well, what was the color of most of your victims? And he kind of goes silent. He's like, yeah, like I have been terrorizing a lot of people in my community. And like, you know, and I guess it's like for like people who, like you were saying earlier, would come out of that going like, oh, see, like, you know, but I think it's like, I think it goes deeper. Like, I think he's saying
I do too.
Like, it's kind of like a thing of like, us versus them instead of us versus us while they watch us. And I don't know, and it's really baked in there. Like, it doesn't say this, obviously. And I don't know, like, and then just, I love the way it ends too, and how there's a sensory deprivation chamber where he gets a chance sort of to like, it's almost like a cosmic moment where it's like to redeem himself. And I usually don't like this ending where it's like a hallucination or a dream. But I think it's interesting that he refuses to like heal, and they go, okay, and it just cuts to him dying on the floor. And I sort of see it spiritually as like that could have been a moment for him to learn, and like he just stayed, and like his punishment was like, okay, well, you die then. Like it's just, you go to hell. Like it's I don't know, and like I don't know, because you know me, I love cosmic horror and like spiritual shit, and I don't know, it was really making me think in a lot of ways that I wasn't expecting. I just didn't even remember, because I guess it's like when I watched this when I was younger, like obviously you get some of it, but now that I'm older at 27, I'm like, whoa. Like I was picking so many layers.
A lot of this hits way different. This is my first time watching it, and this is one of the best ones.
I actually kind of want to get the Blu-ray now.
Yeah, like, this is incredible, and you know, there's so much of this that is fun, and also so much of it that is dark, and I mean, it plays
a good
perfectly.
Balance too. It knows when to play into which one. Which impressed me, because I think a lot of anthologies can struggle with tone. And this is like pretty uniform, and like it knows when to kind of like, that's why I like the middle segments with Clarence William III, and like the sort of like the gel of the film is these three drug dealers showing up to a mortuary to buy drugs. And I love those scenes, because that's kind of like the levity you need to hold you, and that also leads into the epilogue. Do you want to say what the epilogue is?
No, you go for it.
So we basically find out why these guys pulled up to a mortuary. And so the last story where the guy dies at the end, Crazy K, you find out they were the ones who annihilated him. And basically they're in hell. And it leads to one of the most It leads to one of the most iconic moments where Clarence William III goes, "We're in hell," and he turns into the devil.
That's right.
And they sort of go, "What?" And they like fall into lava. That's what's really funny. And it's funny because those actors, I've seen them in a bunch of stuff, but it's really funny.
It was hilarious. I was like, oh, this is great.
And Clarence William III, he's eating it up. I love him with his cigar and his gap in his teeth.
Tales from the Hood, 1995 by
Rusty Kundiev.
And that is the fifth and final choice for Horror Film Extravaganza, week 4 for our horror comedies, and the last movie for Horror Film Extravaganza.
Absolutely, Tales from the Hood.
And listen, if you're watching these videos or you're listening to our podcast, this is probably, we'll probably get back to another 5 a week some other time.
Yeah, we'll definitely do something akin to this again sometime.
Yeah. I mean, so we wanted to do something for Christmas, and we're definitely planning on, we're excited to tell you guys our ideas for Christmas. It's going to be a good time.
It's going to be a good couple months.
We might lock, I'd be willing to do some February love movies where we go just as hard and watch some good slop.
Dude.
Yeah.
I'd be down, actually.
But and some good movies too. But you know, we got a lot of ideas. Listen, if you've been watching our podcast, listening to our podcast online, we want to say first off, thank you.
Thank you guys for joining us.
Yeah, thank you for being a part of this journey. I'm glad we did this, just because I was able to watch so many of these renowned classics, you know,
and it bonded us.
And
I think this bonded us further too.
Yeah, actually, I ended up hating you more.
Yeah. See, I love him.
This is our last podcast we're ever doing.
He's never leaving.
And I say we wrap it up. It's been a good journey.
Yeah.
We had a good run. Just
Yeah.
a couple of months. You know.
His little, your denial's cute, but this beginning of our journey.
Yeah, no, it's
Of
so
our
sick.
love.
Yeah, if you're actually watching this or you're listening to it and you're really seeing the beginning journey of working class frame rate, and I'm super excited
Our
for
first ambitious project.
Yeah, this was a lot.
And also, like, thank you guys for even like listening to us, and also thank you guys for your support. You know, we appreciate all the comments, the retweets, the reposts. Thank you so much.
Yeah, it's been great. Horror film extravaganza.
Yes.
I almost feel sad saying goodbye to this.
I'm actually sad too
Like,
because
this is
October's my month. I love horror, so
Yeah.
it's like I want to keep going.
Yeah,
6 weeks. No,
yeah, it's another one. Horror film extravaganza, working class frame rate. I'm your co-host Josue, here with my co-host
Austin.
Sayonara. We love you guys.
Love you guys. Thank you.
Class frame rate.